Seesaw Girl by Linda Sue Park. Chapter 8. Prisoners. Word traveled faster than the crowd, and long before the commotion reached the marketplace, the people around them were buzzing with the news. Jade turned to her companion in puzzlement and was about to speak when the child suddenly dashed into the road. Chang spoke animatedly to a man for a few moments, then ran back to Jade. "What is it? What's happening?" "They're bringing the strangers. They're taking them to the palace." Not waiting for her reply, Chang whirled away again and joined many others who were rushing to meet the approaching throng. Strangers? What was the child talking about? With the noise and chaos growing louder and more confusing every moment, Jade did not dare to step into the road again. She moved a few more steps in the direction the child had indicated would take her to the house of Li, then half concealed herself behind a tree. The commotion had drawn most of the people from the marketplace. They were lining up on either side of the road. She did not want to be spotted by the servant. Jade did not have long to wait. Soon the great crowd reached them, the first people running or trotting, most of them shouting angrily. They were followed by a phalanx of soldiers. She recognized their splendid scarlet uniforms and armor from having heard Tiger's descriptions of them. The soldiers, hundreds of them it seemed, marched impassively, forming a guard around several groups of men. Jade could not see their faces clearly at first, but she saw that there were more prisoners than she could count on her fingers. The prisoners were chained together and held roughly by soldiers who pushed them along. The din had grown to a roar by the time the soldiers drew level with her, so no one heard the cry of surprise that rose from Jade's throat. The prisoners looked like no men she had ever seen. They had red faces with eyes that seemed to have no color at all, and noses that protruded like the beaks of birds. Several had what seemed to be yellow or brown sheep's wool on their cheeks and chins. A few had hair. It must have been hair, for it covered the top of their heads, but how could it be hair? For it was the color of straw. Chang had said they were being taken to the palace. Why? And why were the onlookers so angry? 1,000 questions jostled in Jade's head until it felt as crowded and confused as the scene before her. Most of the people along the road followed the soldiers and their prisoners. As the remaining crowd thinned, Jade caught a glimpse of Chang and hurried to catch up. "What is it? Where are they going?" she panted, trotting alongside. "They're taking them to the palace," Chang shouted breathlessly. "They're going to chop their heads off." It took a moment for Jade to comprehend what the child had said. She almost tripped as she ran and made a desperate grab for Chang. "Why? What have they done?" she asked, holding the child's arm. "Don't you know? They're not allowed to be here. They've broken the law." Chang shook off her hand impatiently and disappeared into the crowd. The din was fading, and with it some of the noise in Jade's head seemed to quiet down too. She stood still, trying to piece together what Chang had told her. Those men were criminals. What had they done? What law had they broken? And where had they come from? She recalled the faces of the strangers, the odd color of their skin, their pale eyes, and their beaked noses. Surely no good people looked like that.